How's it going, baby?
Yeah.
Look at this handsome guy, huh?
Finally, it happened. Guys, next episode of Sublime Studios podcast, and I got something, good friend of mine, somebody who I wanted to get on my podcast for a while now, and finally, in between like constant touring and then making jokes and being super funny, I got him all the way in San Francisco. Kabir Singh.
Thank you, Eugene. By the way, it's always a pleasure hanging out with you, man. All the love and support you've showed me over the years have been really, really awesome, man. You coming out and bringing people to the shows at the San Francisco Punchline and Cobb's. I mean, it really means a lot.
Yeah, always. I mean, you're definitely a show every time, so there is no reason for people to not come to your show.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have any issues with bringing my friends over to.
By the way, all models, by the way. I remember when at the San Francisco Punchline, the owner was like, why is there like 13 extremely good-looking people over here in the green room? Like, they're my friends.
That happens sometimes when you have good talent and you connect good talent to another good talent.
Well, I completely appreciate all of the support, man. And your podcast is amazing. I tune into it all the time, and you do put in the work, which is really awesome.
I appreciate this, and we're growing. Like you can see, guys, we are at a place which I think will be our home for a while, and we are in the middle of San Francisco.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's right on Hyde Street, and call out to the Click Studio. Thanks, folks, for the space.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
this is a dope-ass space.
Perfect. One thing is that it's in the middle of San Francisco, and we've been talking about like how San Francisco is one of the most, I would say, disappointing, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's getting rough.
Now.
Nobody's running stuff the way they should be. You're absolutely right. You actually said it. Just people are not controlling the situation over here. It's getting real rough, man. It's actually really difficult to get people out to the shows in San Francisco. They prefer Sunnyvale, San Jose, and shows that
I don't blame them. Yeah,
I mean,
create pretty much anything. Any Bay Area city is better.
Absolute disaster out here, man.
Exactly.
People are just there's no laws. They're just going crazy. I mean, they're shutting down Walgreens and stuff like that, right? Like people are just going in there stealing stuff, running on. I mean, it's an absolute headache. But San Francisco, I mean, it's a beautiful city, great place for tourists over in the piers and stuff. But right when you get out of there, man, it's kind of rough.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to be real careful. Yeah, but there's actually like really nice places in San Francisco too. I mean, you just kind of avoid the bad areas and stuff like that. But this is a nice spot. But yeah, man, downtown San Francisco, I mean, it's the same thing that's happening in other cities too. It's not a San Francisco problem.
Okay.
It's kind of like just...
yeah, well, you tour a lot, so you can maybe compare. But how does it compare to like non-Californian
Oh, no, I'm
right?
telling you, man, Portland's rough, Seattle's rough.
Okay, so
I mean, they're having...
I see a problem for the whole West Coast, though.
I would say so. Anything that's like ridiculously liberal is pretty rough. I mean... I'm a liberal dude too. I'm not a Republican at all. But Seattle, Portland's rough. Billings, Montana, there's a lot of homeless over there. I really hope that we can fix the problem and get the right people in there elected to fix it. But it's a big problem. Like I don't blame them. I mean, it's a lot of stuff you have to figure out and stuff like that. But San Francisco is definitely getting crapped on the most. Even in LA, I mean, there's only certain certain parts of LA that is rough. But the homeless in San Francisco, Seattle, and Portland is rough.
Yeah.
I would say so, man. Especially when you do these. Yeah.
That's sad. And I kind of wanted to, not go into just trashing, and because it's a political problem, and I don't really know if
I agree.
Two of you can do anything about this, right? Unless you run for the mayor.
I'd be the worst mayor in the world, by the way. But no, you're absolutely right, man. It's just, we elect people that we think that are going to take care of the problem, and they just don't do it.
Yeah.
That's why I've never voted in my life, by the way. Have you ever voted?
There is a wonderful book that talks about, it's called Winner Effect.
Okay.
And it talks about the power and illusion of power.
Okay.
So sometimes illusion of power gives you this perception that you are winning more, even if you don't have any control. And the reason why I'm talking about this specifically is because elections, it's a law of big numbers, right? So each individual vote doesn't really count as much.
100%, yeah.
As much as if you put thousands of people together to vote. That's where the difference is actually happening. You see, so
I just don't know who to vote for. I mean, it's the same people every time.
Vote for me.
I'll vote for you, buddy. I got you.
All right. Well, I'll think about this. Okay. Cool.
I know you'll legalize everything, so that's good. I mean, I'm pretty sure prostitution is going to be illegal in like a day. So you got my vote.
That's some serious allegations.
Sounds like allegations.
Alligators. Cool. So, all right. Let's talk a bit more about like your life and how did you end up where you are?
Yeah. So, I went to San Jose State for college. And then all my friends kind of, my high school friends really thought it was really funny in school and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So they kind of signed me up for an open mic in February of 2009, I want to say. And they just put me up. They told me to write some material. Went up there, did about 25 minutes of material, and I got completely addicted. And ever since then, I've just been doing nonstop comedy shows. I mean, 2013, I think Gabriel Iglesias... saw me over.
Fluffy.
Yeah, he saw me at the he saw me at a comedy club in Hermosa Beach, and then he put me on his Comedy Central show. So I was like 4 years in on Comedy Central, won the SF International Comedy Competition, and ever since then I've just been kind of rolling and focusing on stand-up comedy. I mean, it's a fun gig if you have it in you. Like, I mean, literally, I always say that they don't pay us to do stand-up. They pay us to travel because it's so much traveling. But other than that, I mean, it's just been smooth sailing since then, to be honest. I've been very fortunate with all the love and support of the fans out there, and it's just been very nice.
Yeah. Where would you say people love you the most? Where do you see? Do they feel like?
You know what? At the end of the day, it's Bay Area. Tommy T's, Pleasanton.
It's your home, yeah. And Tommy T is one of the nicest comedy clubs. Maybe not the most legendary for sure, but every time you're there.
Yeah, it's just a local comedy club. Yeah, exactly, yeah. And that's the first place I ever performed at, too. So that's kind of been... And they put me on a lot of shows that I probably shouldn't have been on early in my career to kind of groom me into a decent comedian. So I really do owe them a tremendous amount of my career. So that's a fun place in Pleasanton. We did a show last night, actually, over at Tom T's. It was nice.
Yeah. Come to Pleasanton, folks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Tom T's great club. It's an urban club, so you get to see a lot of a diverse amount of comedians and stuff like that. And it was just last night was a blast, and it is a very good club. We have great clubs in San Francisco as well, Cobb's, Punchline, and you got a lot of really cool underground scene over here as well. I mean, the comedy is really booming in the Bay Area. I mean, it's just, and you got some of the best up and coming comedians over here, and they go out there and kill it. I mean, it's just a blast.
Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned Gabriel Iglesias was the one who kind of bootstrapped you into the stand-up comedy world. Did you have an idea that you are going to become a comedian at some point?
It's such an interesting question because I really never watched stand-up comedy. I don't think I've ever watched a stand-up comedy special. I think my first comedy show that I ever went to was a comedy competition that I was in at Rooster T. Feathers in Sunnyvale in 2008 or 9. I mean, that was really, I was just kind of thrown into the game. Like and then I kind of went back and started watching comedians, but I never watched a comedy special and was like, oh, I want to do that. Like it was kind of a reverse effect. Like I'm very naturally funny. I just, like all my comedy shows, I tell everybody, you're not going to learn anything. There's no, you're not going to get, I don't really go crazy on political stuff or anything insane.
You have some stuff which I would call, well, not extreme, but I would call maybe borderline appropriate.
Super racist.
You have that for sure, but another one is this was Spin a Yarn.
Yes.
Right? In Fremont,
right? Warm Springs, yeah.
Yes, and you got your niece, like she was like 8 years old, remember?
Oh my God, I remember that.
You got your niece on the stage and she was telling the joke, which like the kids is not supposed to tell. I'm like, well, how is this even appropriate?
First of all, that was definitely my sister Sonia, by the way, who told her that joke to tell her. Yeah, that was super inappropriate. I remember that. What was that joke, by the way? It was like a street joke. It's like, it was inappropriate, yeah.
Something
with a D.
In the category, yeah, either D or in the category of that's what she said and so on.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like my whole family is like just kind of super chill and stuff like that. So we don't have that kind of regulation where we're like, oh, don't say this, don't say that. But I do remember that.
Yeah.
By the way, that was, everybody at Spinning Yarn was all like, that was crazy.
That was crazy, dude. Like, The smaller clubs, you can maybe try some experimental stuff, and they will go into the way you write jokes. But let's kind of learn a bit more about your career path. Every comedian, they have their own story how they ended up on the stage, and like in your case.
My friend signed me up for the open mic in Fremont without even asking me.
Right.
So I did that, and I was extremely addicted. Like right when I did that, I was like, okay, this is pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. And then of course, like the first show I did was all my friends that were, from high school and stuff like that. So they all loved me, they laughed. And then I probably did about 3 other shows at the San Jose Improv, Stanford University, and then, I can't remember the third one where I just completely bombed. Like it was like nobody was laughing at anything. I was like, okay, no, this is what it really feels like. We have to get better. So I mean, it's just it's a complete struggle. You have to, stand-up comedy, in my opinion, it's a one-sided conversation with strangers. So you have to kind of connect with them at some point. So it's hard to do early.
It is, but you also have like rules of the genre, and the reason why I'm so comfortable talking about what happens on the stage is because our good friend Jeremy Curry,
the best,
he loves to talk about the craft
of
performing and being funny, and I'm like, well, Jeremy, so what happens if there's somebody in the audience who is just trying to trash you in return? Because
good luck to that guy.
Good luck to that guy. Like,
Jeremy's.
Listen, I'm the biggest dog in the room at this point. I got the microphone, so let them try. I dare them to try.
You don't want to mess with Jeremy with a microphone or no microphone. I mean, that guy is a killer. But yeah, no, it is interesting. But also, we don't get heckled as much as people think we do. I mean, with my stand up, I speak so freely and quickly that it's kind of tough to even get a word in. Like I'm rapid fire, like it's joke after joke after joke. Yeah. So, I mean, if somebody's being a jerk, usually the club will handle it, but I try to ignore it as much as possible because I don't want it to be an awkward situation for everybody else. But yeah, no, I've seen people be kind of jerks about that. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, which town in this country has the most number, the biggest jerks and the most number of jerks?
I would say somebody got me. I would say. I think it was a combination of. I think Texas, Phoenix, and Florida. Mm-hmm. I think those guys can. They're getting plastered, but especially when you're headlining weekend, you do a show on Thursday. Mm-hmm. And you do 2 shows on Friday, 2 shows Saturday. So that late show Friday is about 10:30. So these guys are just lit up. Mm-hmm. So yeah, these guys can be a little aggressive, but I try to handle it with grace as much as possible. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I try not to ruin it for everybody else, and I just try to expect the comedy club to do their job. But you'll get like people that just show up wasted for no reason, and you just kind of see it coming though too. Especially if you're a comedian, you kind of see like if there's like a table full of people that are just lit up, just kind of avoid them. You don't want to do too much crowd, and I do a lot of crowd work.
Yes, you do.
Like avoid them a little bit, and then maybe if they say something, I just try to kind of pivot a little bit and say a couple wisecracks and then kind of move on with that. But a lot of comedians can get unfocused with that, which I don't blame them, but it's just
I remember that when you do crowd work, you actually study the audience a lot.
Oh, 100%.
So it's not like you throw those lines.
No.
In like randomly into the crowd. And the reason how I realized this, it was in Tommy T, and you were on the stage, and I was in this VIP section with, as usual, as you say, like
19 models.
Well, not 19, 6 or 7.
6 or 7 is fine.
Yeah, sorry, not 19.
19 to me.
And you were going around. And
one by one.
It kind of like approaching our table, and then you jumped over our table and went to somebody else. I'm like, well, why not us?
Not you guys. I know you guys.
Yeah, so yeah, that happens.
That is the Tommy T's is always I try to like when I do the crowd work and stuff, like I try to avoid people that I know because I don't want to be like a jerk to you, or I also feel like I kind of already know you because I mean you're one of my better friends. I would never like try to disrespect or be, but sometimes when I'm on stage, just shit flies out. I want to avoid all that stuff. But
you also try things which you don't know if they're going to work or not. So remember how you got one of your buddies on the stage,
Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff.
The worst.
And Jeff is like, I was thinking like you prepared a bunch of jokes and you gave them to Jeff to try if they're going to bomb.
First of all, those are his jokes. I had nothing to do with that, but they were all racist and terrible.
Yeah. They were not good.
No, terrible.
Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, sorry. Well, no apologies for me, by the way. Jeff, you deserve it.
Not specifically picking on you, but those jokes were not the best.
The whole fun stuff about that is trying to explain to the crowd that, comedy's hard. Here's somebody that's only done comedy a few times. Yeah. He'll do a couple jokes and he'll bomb. But you'd be surprised how well he does in like weird places. Like it's like 50-50 for some reason. But yeah, I mean, that's a really kind of fun act that I could play with my friends and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So there are few comedians of all your caliber. Maybe, I don't know, Russel Peters, right? So
he's the best,
we all know Russel Peters. And the reason why I'm bringing him up here is, well, there are two reasons. One of them is I think you've done something with him, and you can talk about this in a bit. But before we go into this, he's also of Indian ancestry, right?
Yeah, he's Indian and Canadian, yeah.
Indian Canadian, yes. So he was born to Indian family, similar to you, right? And like we are here in San Francisco, Silicon Valley, right? So
we're close enough.
We have massive presence.
100%.
Some of the best talent in technology is coming from India.
Right, yeah.
And also I know that it's a very conservative kind of culture, right? So
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, parents are wishing the best for their kids, and that's why they do things like arranged marriages and so on. So how did your parents react to your like manifestation of comedian?
Yeah,
they wanted you to be maybe like a lawyer, doctor, right?
I have two sisters. One's a doctor, one's a lawyer. Both went to Harvard.
There you go.
They both went to Harvard. And I told my mom and dad, like, you hit the Indian quota, I'm doing stand-up. So they actually took it pretty well.
Indian quota, okay.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, they've always been very, very supportive. I mean, they kind of knew I was going to do some dumb shit like this. So they were kind of anticipating it. But yeah, no, they both, both of my sisters, I was the youngest. I'm youngest by about 20 years, I would say. So, unfortunately, my dad passed away in 2012 or 13 or something like that. So it's just been my mom and I. Thank you, man. So it's just been my mom and I in the Bay Area. So as I've been able to hang out with her quite a bit, and she comes to a lot of shows, and she could not be more supportive. And my dad was, one of my biggest regrets was just not. He probably passed away like 6 months before I got on Comedy Central, which sucked because he used to drive me around to these open mics in Dublin and all that stuff. So, that was kind of hurt. Unfortunately, he passed away before he saw me actually get on TV. But I would say that they took it pretty well. I mean, my cousins and uncles kind of make fun of me all the time for doing stand-up. But, they end up at the show, so it's not bad. I mean, thank God for America's Got Talent. Well, when I came in like the top 15 in that, I think that was super global. So I want to say that all my cousins and uncles from London and everybody from India was like, call my mom. She's like, are you guys on America's Got Talent over here? I mean, it was an amazing experience. So I felt like I got a lot of love and support from my family after, Indians just want to kind of they kind of just want you to succeed in whatever you do.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing it for a while, but eventually, they came around, which was very nice.
Yeah. Good to know. And I do see that the culture slowly changes. Honestly, I love Indian food. Like, this is the tastiest thing. Spices are amazing.
Wow. Yeah. What is it, Hawaii, Maui right now? Did you see Hawaii's disaster?
It's on fire.
Dude, send money to them.
Well, Hawaii kind of U.S.
But they're not doing anything. They're not rebuilding. Like, it's just like insane amount of money that went to. That was kind of a weird thing that America just kind of took Ukraine's side immediately.
The thing is that
you also invaded a country for no reason in 2023.
The thing is that it's a proxy war.
Yeah, I mean, it's your own shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like India and Pakistan. I mean, like, there's going to be problems. I mean, like, I just don't understand why everybody has to like pick a side or just be like weird about it. Like, Ukraine's.
Yeah, you don't have to pick a side. I mean, if it's also a position to not pick a side in something which you don't understand or don't have enough knowledge about and so on.
Right? That's true, and I think people should actually do that. If you don't have enough knowledge about it, you should just calm down about that.
The reason why we like Americans here are conditioned into picking sides is because we only have two parties, right? Really, and that's why there is so much polarization happening between them.
100%.
Even though we do have nominally or technically some other parties.
No.
Yeah.
2% of the vote.
Where are them, right? So
Yeah,
they
not
don't,
even close.
not even present anywhere.
Yeah, no, it's weird because like I always, my mom and dad was born in Lahore in Pakistan before it was India.
Mm-hmm.
And I never understood the whole India-Pakistan war because I just feel like we're all the same. And there's a lot of Punjabi, like I'm Punjabi Sikh, and there's a tremendous amount of Punjabis in Pakistan. They speak Punjabi freely. That's why when they did the whole video of the terrorist attack over at Taj Mahal, I believe, they're all speaking Punjabi. And I was young enough to ask my mom, I was like, why are we attacking? It's like they're Pakistani, they speak Punjabi. I was like, I had no clue. I mean, it just, people just need to calm down. But it is interesting how America doesn't understand the politics of other countries when they're picking sides and just going crazy over it. I'm like, guys, let's take it, step back and then figure this out. But it is very interesting. I just don't like I don't like people talking about, because I know nothing about politics, so I kind of steer away from it. Mm-hmm. I just hate when people make a stubborn stance on politics when they kind of don't know both sides of the story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the most annoying thing I've ever. It's like hypocritical and it's annoying.
There are clearly multiple sides.
100%.
Pretty much any conflict. At the same time,
there's
it's not it's not black and white. It's like there are people in power and people who think they are in power, right? So people who are actually in power, they take whatever disagreements are and they amplify them.
100%.
Which allows them to.
Well said.
Yeah, which allows them to steer those crowds towards achieving the goals which benefit the powerful people.
100%. 100%. So
it's like,
and that's every country, though, buddy.
It does
It's every country.
It's called Proxy Wars. I mean, if you look at that, if we look at something like 100 years ago, World War I, right? And British Empire and Russian Empire. So those are two poles of that. Germany was somewhere in the middle, even though Germany started all that, they lost, right? So, and then we ended up with the Russian Empire and the British Empire, right? But those two guys were kind of like in alliance, you see? And especially they were in alliance during the World War II. It was very important alliance, right? But during the World War I, they were still kind of like not really enemies, not conflicting, and therefore they didn't wanna go into war against each other. But there are plenty of opportunities to kind of claim influence, claim territory, and so on. So what happened is they chose two countries which were in wars for past 3,000 years, Greece and Turkey. You see?
Yeah. Yep.
And British Empire was on the side of Greece, and the Russian Empire was on the side of Turkey. You see? And what was going on in this area around Istanbul, that whole this whole like northern like Black Sea kind of
100%. Yeah.
What was going on there is there was new government taking over power in Turkey. And what British Empire wanted to do is they wanted to help Greece to make use of that and kind of acquire some territory. But Russian Empire was on the side of Turkey. So Greece lost this war. You see? Greece lost, even though like it wasn't primarily coming from like British Empire trying to control, like puppet war.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and Ukrainian war is, Afghanistan war, you see.
That was another one.
Yeah.
That was a hardcore war that people don't talk about, the Afghanistan war. It was Russia and Afghanistan?
Yeah. Yes, Afghanistan was supported by Russians.
They were supported by Russians.
Ammunition.
Got you.
You see? Well, I mean, people need to buy weapons. Why don't we sell weapons to them?
Right? Americans selling that shit too. It's crazy. I mean, look what America did with Saddam Hussein. I mean, that guy was hiding in a hole by the time we found him. Mm-hmm. I mean, it really is. I just wish everybody could get along and everybody has their own territories. But I'm not really read up on the whole Ukraine. I don't know why that started, but when it comes to India and Pakistan, I'm pretty well read up with that. And then the whole World War II thing was crazy. But hopefully everybody, I think we should invade Canada.
Those northern motherfuckers.
that'll take 8 minutes.
They're way too polite.
We just show up and we're taking all your A&Ws.
Yeah.
Bring it over here. Yeah,
cool.
but it is interesting though.
Like, dude, so I do love the fact that you talk about like Punjabi, Indian, Pakistani background. So, like Russel Peters likes to make jokes of his own culture. You know, like he's making like funny accents and so on. You see, you do not really do that much, and I wonder like why don't you capitalize so much on the fact that you have like full blown Indian.
You're absolutely right. I actually, you know what? I have a lot of Indians tell me that when I do the Indian shows. I just feel like, Russel Peters has already kind of mastered that art. Yeah. Like I don't feel like I could do better than that. So generally Indian material for me is just my mom, personal stories about my dad and stuff like that. But when somebody's already kind of just murdered that kind of genre, I mean, it's just going to be it's going to be repetitive, a little bit. But you're right though. I mean, I have a lot of people that tell me, when I do my crowd work though, I do bring in the Indian stuff a lot, as much as I possibly can. But that's more freestyle and stuff like that. But yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, at the end of the day, when somebody's already mastered that genre, I mean, like it's gonna sound a little repetitive at that day. Yeah, it's like Joe Coy. Like if there's a Filipino comic doing like Filipino comedy and Joe Coy's already done it, or there's a lot of Gabriel Iglesias, Carlos Mencia.
Gabriel Iglesias kills this whole like Mexican thing.
He just got murdered.
Yeah,
I love that guy. That guy he's the coolest. And then there was a tremendous amount of them that kind of, I wouldn't say emulate them, but like there was, if you do a joke about your mom being Hispanic, I mean, there's only so much to talk about, right? Yeah. If somebody already did 8 jokes about their mom being Hispanic, I mean, like, you got like 1 left.
Jeremy likes to make jokes about his wife being Hispanic.
Jeremy is the worst person I've ever met in my That guy's...
Jeremy, we love you.
Fuck you, Jeremy. No, Jeremy is so funny because like you've seen him like grow recently too.
He does really well, yeah.
I just took him to Laughlin. He was opening for me in Laughlin in Vegas. Hard to follow. I mean, the guy, I'm so proud of him. But like he does jokes about Hispanic wife, which is all true, by the way. Mm-hmm. And some things he can't talk about due to the laws. He can't really talk about stabbings. But like, he's really funny. He does a really good job with that. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to, but to answer your question though, like to do more Indian or material like that is just kind of like stepping on people that have already done it in the past.
Okay. So in this case, what is your process of coming up with jokes? Like, do you like just live your life and then whatever funny comes up and you jot it down?
Yeah, you've seen me do stand up, Andy. I mean, like I basically just completely off the top of my head. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just try to treat every comedy show as kind of like a house party. Mm-hmm. Have a good time, talk to the crowd and stuff like that. But
you do a combination of prepared material.
Yes,
because I go to shows, I kind of hear some parts.
There's a certain amount of material that I have that I know that's going to work, and then I kind of lean on that as a crutch when I'm doing other stuff. So like if I was doing crowd work with some single guys or single women, I would say that and then kind of go into a joke about my fiance, kind of like, hedge that a little bit. But generally, to be honest with you, hate to say it, it's really ill prepared. I probably should be preparing more for that, but generally I just kind of go up there and feel it out. But it's 12 years of comedy. I mean, It's just, in the beginning I used to write every joke on a, piece of paper, on a little Post-it.
Yeah, and after 12 years, you probably know that there are some rules and
right. You got to read the room, man. I mean, especially when you're performing, when you're used to the Bay Area and you kind of know the crowd, SF, San Jose, and stuff like that. But when you're doing shows in like Wisconsin, Texas, Iowa, you just kind of have to understand that this is a certain people that may not understand making fun of Indians and Asians because they're probably not there. Yeah. So like I did this whole set in Iowa where they were just looking at me like, we don't get the Asian Indian driving joke. And I was like, well, shit, it's not going to work well. So, you just kind of have to read the room on that situation. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good observation. So basically, as I mentioned, you do scan the room to see
100%, man. And in some of the shows,
probably,
100. Eugene, when I do the corporate gigs, like for like Google and shit like that. I mean, you have to understand they're not like the regular Indians that I hung out with or went to high school with. It's just like they're from India from like 4 months ago. So like you just have to figure out certain kind of jokes that would do well, family stuff, relationship stuff. But if I'm talking about American politics or like, you know, traveling in America, I mean, it's going to go right over their head. So you just got to read the room.
Yeah.
That's what I would tell every comedian to do, man. I mean, just figure that out immediately because, you know, especially when you're traveling, because I do colleges, cruises and stuff like that. That is just a complete unmitigated disaster sometimes if you cannot figure out what your audience is.
You don't want to oversaturate this whole like Indian kind of comedy thing.
Yeah.
And you have to adjust your jokes to whatever the audience is, and if you're trying to figure out if they are like fresh off the boat and what kind of jokes would work for them or not.
Well, you know what? Honestly, Eugene, it's kind of the same thing with like white people too. Like, you know, like the whole.
Who are those white people? I never saw them.
Well, she's white. She's white as fuck. What is it like the blue collar comedy jam? You know, all those blue collar. So like at the end of the day, like if you're doing the same material that people have been doing in the past, I'm like, you just kind of differentiate yourself. Russel Peters was a comedian that was an Indian comedian that just blew up. And at the end of the day, you just kind of have to kind of navigate yourself to where you don't want to be kind of like put in that same category, I guess. And then just kind of avoid it at some point. Like, I mean, you're a model, by the way, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like kind of like stealing the same pose or something like that. Well, that's probably not right now.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and it's honestly, like, you just have to kind of like put your own path away and just kind of like figure out what you want to do, you know? Especially with podcasting too, man. I mean, there's like 1,000 podcasts. I'm like, how is it? I mean, this is really difficult to kind of like stand alone, right?
To differentiate yourself, yes, of course. It's more about there is like community of people who do podcasting, and then eventually they invite each other, and you know, one host invites the other host, and then they kind of, you know, cross interview each other. But in general, you get interesting people over, and through association, you are becoming somebody who's also interesting for other people.
Makes sense.
So it's
Makes
like
sense, yeah.
You help other people grow, and they will help grow with you, because essentially you are competing for attention of the viewership. That's where the money is coming from, you see. But there are other benefits of doing kind of, you know, like talking work.
The content world is insane. Like, for us as stand-up comedians, like we were told just to get like on Comedy Central, America's Got Talent, do these things, but then all of a sudden, you got all these guys on TikTok that are just completely bearing comedians that have been doing for like 10 or 12 years. You know, like guys like,
are you jealous?
Like Matt Rife and like all these guys that are just absolutely murdering it. So
they're doing great. I mean, he's hilarious. I just discovered him too the other day.
Oh no, he's great.
He's amazing.
Oh yeah, he's a good-looking guy. Calm down.
So,
but
are you jealous
funny.
that
she said he's funny.
are you jealous that there are people on TikTok who are funnier than you?
Who?
Well, you just mentioned that there are folks on TikTok.
There are probably
naturally funny.
6 people. I'll give them that. But you know, it's difficult though, because like you were told to do, like it's kind of like this is what you have to do, and then the game whole changed immediately. So you know, I'm trying to get into the whole TikTok, Instagram stuff like that, but you know, it's just when people are already on top of it and probably already ahead of the game. I mean, how do you catch up? I mean, it takes a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's what it is, you know. And no hate, but I mean, they're amazing. Matt Rife has been doing comedy since he was like 16. I mean, he's a killer. So he's always been phenomenal. I did a bunch of shows with him. He's a really cool guy. But I can name like 8 other comics that have not been on Comedy Central or HBO or anything that are just massacring it when we were told that's the only avenue to get through. So interesting situation.
If you don't do social media those days, then you are just missing all those additional.
You know what, Eugene? You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
100%.
And by the way, also social media was blown up with Russell Peters and Angela Johnson back in the day. We had a 10-year gap, but we didn't take it seriously, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now you have to catch up, unfortunately, because all those people
Eugene, I know.
Stage. Yeah, and like I'm looking at your Instagram, and you posted one reel, which is just super poor quality. Like, what's going on there?
That's my.
It's like
that's my roommate.
Ouch.
Echo in this audio. Somebody records from like bathroom. You know, it's
Did
like.
you like the joke though?
The joke is good, yes.
Yeah, go fuck yourself then, Eugene. That's a good joke. My job is to do a good joke. I don't give a shit about the quality. Somebody else is doing that. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's a whole different demographic now. The game has changed. It is social media and all that good stuff, which I don't mind. I mean, I think everybody has kind of a fair edge when you do that.
Yeah.
But I kind of like I kind of like the fact that back in the day we had gatekeepers. Mm-hmm. They're like, okay, you're not funny, get the hell out. But it's not happening. Everybody can do whatever they want now.
By gatekeepers, you mean there are
the
clubs or
NBC, CBS, people like that would put you on shows. I did like 9 pilots for CBS. None of them did anything. Mm-hmm. But like, I figured that was the route to do, and then immediately it was just all like, "Where's your TikTok, Instagram followers?
Yeah.
Where's the quality on your last video, you dick?" And then it's just so true though, Eugene.
I'm
like,
trying to say that hire me to produce good videos.
Do it, buddy. I have no money. no, I got you. No, but that's very true though. Like you have to have a very high quality,
Absolutely. Even with modeling, acting, all of it. Comedy shows especially too.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
They're looking at quality too.
Absolutely.
Very cool. So talk about your collaborations with Russel Peters, right? You've done something with him.
Oh yeah, I went on tour with him for a while. Yeah, Russell's great, dude.
Yeah,
and he was the first comic to ever went viral at that point, right?
But because he leveraged the power of social media as well. Yeah.
At that point, there was a very few, there was not a lot of, TikTok and Instagram accounts. This Asian dude that saw him do his set in Canada, recorded it and put it on YouTube.
Yeah. Back in the day. Now it
Game
doesn't
over.
work. Now it doesn't work. Back
Nobody's posting my shit.
Yeah. Back in the day, you could have just... Because... Like YouTube and other platforms were just kind of mediocre. People posting their cats there and so on, and then something really good shows up and everyone gets everyone's attention.
But do you think that's like an appropriate thing? Like anybody that just can post anything, and then do you just think that if a comedian has like a joke or something like that and they post it up and nobody approves of it, whatever, and they just put it up? I mean, it's kind of
with comedians, it's like. If you put your jokes out there, you have to write new ones, right? Every time.
Yeah.
And it's not like you can say the very same joke from the stage, and it's not funny anymore.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the thing about comedy, man. When you do a joke or something like that on Instagram, you get immediate review. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, but it's like you cannot use this joke anymore.
They're like, you suck. Yeah. I'm like, thanks a lot, dude.
You'll know how they feel immediately.
I mean, the hate is crazy on it. Like they're like complete. When I did America's Got Talent, when I came in, when I did AGT, and they posted all those videos, I was looking through the comments. Like I got 3 standing ovations, came in 12th place. The comments were so brutal, dude. Oh. And my fiance was like, "Don't read this shit." I'm like, "I love this shit. I love the smoke," but it was so mean.
Feed off of it for comedy.
I would say, but it's hurtful though sometimes.
It's hurtful, yeah.
Why do these people do that?
I don't know. Because I think there's, people that are wanting attention too from all of those comments as well, or looking for that.
That makes sense.
I really believe that.
They're like, look at this fat guy from, what was the show, How I Met Your Mother? Mm-hmm. Do you remember that show?
Yeah.
Do you know the guy with the brown hair?
No.
Well, the guy, apparently...
The main character?
Yeah.
Yes.
Apparently I look like the fat Indian guy. I got 19 comments and I'm like, who the...
Are you from How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah. I'm like, why are you yelling at me, man? It's a Tuesday. Yeah. But literally though, people need to really calm down on social media. We're putting ourselves out there to make people laugh and make people happy. Why are you being a dick?
Yeah. Why be mean?
Why?
Well,
what is
There's
the
no
point of that? Just say something nice or say nothing at all.
And then I think about it and I think that maybe they have something going on in their lives that they're just kind of pushing that off on other people. And so to me, I take that with a grain of salt where I don't let that bother me,
Good.
And I just think of all the positivity.
You 100% cannot let that get to you because there's so much negativity out there.
You can look at the glass half full or half empty. It's up to you.
100%. And they're kind of, but they'll be kind of ridiculous.
Oh, for sure.
I can immediately...
Some of the comments.
I know, right?
or messages too.
Oh God, you get a lot of DMs. Oh God, I can't imagine.
I'm not going there. Nope.
I can't
We're not
imagine.
even starting this category.
Guys are the worst. Dude.
Yes,
Guys can be really bad.
They can be tremendous. They can be tremendous.
Have you gotten any like funny situations coming from like DMs or overall like Instagram, social media?
I've gotten like I actually have I've had people. I've had a lot of people like say mean things to me, but I've also had like amazing feedback. Like those are the ones you want to kind of, especially like, when I was on AGT, I was the first Indian comedian that came in 12th place in American Got Talent. So Saudi Arabia, India, Pakistan, England, all those Indians that I probably couldn't reach without that platform. They all reached out and was like, dude, you're my hero. Like we had like a 15-year-old kid, Punjabi kid. Just it was like, it is so amazing seeing somebody with my last name on this big platform. I mean, that negates every negative comment.
Dude, come on, your last name is maybe like another 4 million people.
Oh, is Eugene just going to talk shit to me all the time?
I'm trying to get to the point where you become edgy. Where you actually become funny.
Yeah. No, but really, honestly, like those comments from those kids, I mean, it's an amazing thing. Especially Singh is a regular Punjabi Indian name too, as you know. So those guys were really cool, and overall it was a fun experience. But also, I'm kind of sensitive. I read all those comments, and it was kind of like, why would you do that? Like, it's just not. First of all, it's not necessary. And I think everybody should listen to this. I'm like, dude, if you don't like us, just don't comment. Don't be a dick. It hurts our feelings. I mean, we're going out there doing our best,
Yeah. Okay, so. Like overall, would you say that you are happy where you are in your comedian career?
Finally, dude.
Totally. Okay, and you see yourself doing the very same thing, like 5-10 years down the road.
100%. I got the show on Hulu coming out next year. I got a special on Hulu again. So we got 2 things coming out, which should be really fun. And I'm doing the Vegas, the AGT shows, which is
fun.
Great. So it really is a blast.
Yeah.
So it's just all I want to do is just do stand-up comedy for a living, something that you love to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's just it took about a long time, but I'm pretty happy about that.
Very cool.
And it's always great having people like you support and love.
No, I'm happy to help.
Oh, you're the man.
Yeah. It's just if you need content, I mean. We can talk about this, but I'm happy to do more content for you. Okay, yeah, you're my friend.
I love you, dude. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, let's wrap up.
Thanks.
And I know you also have a hard stop. So, what would be the advice you can give somebody who just starts their stand-up career? Somebody who goes like an open mic and they seem that they looks like they are getting traction with the audience.
Easiest answer in the world. Write 5 minutes of material. Go up there, do like an open mic, see if that works, and then just kind of continue. Just kind of figure out what you want to do. Just kind of continue doing that. And my main advice is that if it's not working in 4 years, don't waste 10 years doing this shit, because you have to have it in you. Stand-up comedy, yeah, exactly.
100%. You have to.
You have to have it in you.
You do.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you have to be good at what you do. Like, listen, there's a lot of shit that I love to do. Sports gambling. I'm not good at that. I'm not investing 12 years in this, Yeah, I learned my lesson.
I don't think there is anybody who is really good at gambling,
No.
Casinos are good at gambling, yes.
But honestly, man, you just have to kind of have a limit. Maybe do 3 years, work your ass off, and see what happens. And hopefully good things will happen to you. And I hope it does. But, you really have to take the hints from the industry, because you just cannot waste 10 years doing something. There's so many comedians in the Bay Area that have been doing comedy for like 12 years that are not even featuring at comedy clubs in the local. I mean, you got to understand, take the hint. Read the room, buddy.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of it also is not just connections, but also, like you said, content.
Yeah.
Content is so important. Like if you're pushing your content, you're creating good content that's quality, then that's what matters.
Yeah, just do, if you love something, do good at it.
Yes. Well, you practice. 100%. And then if someone's giving you feedback, you take that feedback and you build on it.
100%. Actually, that's a great advice right there. If somebody's telling you what to do, listen.
Yeah, get a mentor.
I love it.
Where next? Well, you mentioned you're going to Vegas.
Yes, I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be headlining Vegas first weekend of October, and then I'm going to be doing Wisconsin and Syracuse next weekend. Fremont tomorrow. And then I'm doing East Coast tour the majority of October. So it should be a lot of fun. And also the Hulu special is going to drop probably like 2 months. So that should be a lot of fun. Hopefully I'll come back on with you to promote that.
Yeah, definitely.
Exciting.
I'm happy to. Yeah,
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Let's reconvene then. Who was your like production studio for Hulu?
Oh, Hulu. I mean, they own all of it, man. They
don't
just
allow anybody else.
fuck Hulu. Edit that. They're like,
Okay.
we're taking all your content. We'll take care of this. I'm like, is this legal? No, but the production company, they're really cool. They're really good. I worked with them in the prior with that whole NBC stuff, so they're great. So hopefully have that special come out. That's going to be really good. And then we shot that in Portland, so should be good. And then I'll be back in the Bay Area for the majority of the year.
Amazing. And you don't do anything else besides, well, you mentioned the sport gambling. I know you like to hang out at the bars, and just talk to random people and pretend like you're nobody, right?
Yep.
So
He's
there's
just
that.
a bus thrower. Just throw me under the train, huh?
Yeah. Any other cool things you ever tried and you think you want to try?
I don't know, man. I would say that I do want to play poker a bunch. Buy into the World Series. I did that once, lost in day one, and everybody yelled at me. But that's kind of a fun thing to do. But generally, I mean, I have the best friends, great fiance, mom loves me. So honestly, I can't tell you how blessed I am. And things are going well now, finally, after freaking 8 years. So, and hanging out with great people like you too, man. I mean, it's amazing. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ashley as well.
Ashley's in the house, isn't it? And I'll see you. I'm in Fremont next weekend in Wisconsin and Wisconsin and Syracuse. Where is Syracuse?
Oh, nice.
Is that New York?
New York, yeah. Syracuse.
It sounds like two names to me. Syracuse.
It sounds like two.
I have a friend that's up there.
It sounds like 2 stops on a flight to me, to be honest.
Amazing. Folks, this was Kabir Singh.
Love you, Gene.
Follow
Thank you so
him on
much.
his Instagram. There will be a
Kabir Kabeezy
link below.
Singh, yeah.
Kabir Kabeezy Singh. Go to his shows and watch him becoming funnier, and maybe finally he will make money to afford proper social media. Awesome. Cheers.
I'll hire you.
Follow us.
Thank you, Gene.
Great job.
Goodness. That was fun.